Hey Disney friends, it's Amber with Mickey Travels. Today I've got a really great video for you. I get a lot of questions all the time about where to stay. I have tons of views on my videos that are specifically about resorts. And then I did a video where it was like my top 5 resorts or top 10 or something. And so I only broke down a few of them there. Well, I have done my research. I've been to almost every single one of these. And I have looked at every single Disney resort. I'm going to give you the pros and cons and information about all of them. These are just the ones that I specifically book as a Disney travel agent. So this does not include the ones such as the Four Seasons or Shades of Green. So these are specifically the ones that are directly through Disney. And then at the end I've thrown Swan and Dolphin in because that's technically a little different too. So these are all the same in the sense that they accept the dining plan, they get magic bands, they use the Magical Express, etc. So stick around, we've got a lot of information to go over. I also have pictures included and my 2 cents on all of these, so stay tuned. Alright, so I've put these in order as far as what I think they are price-wise. So I've started with the values and put those in order of how much I think they are per night, starting with least and going to most, and then I'll jump into moderates, and then deluxe will be last. So that way you can kind of tell the ones I begin with are going to be more of the cheaper resorts, and the ones I end with will be the most expensive. So I've put all the all-star resorts together. You've got your all-star sports, your all-star music, and your all-star movies. So these are the least expensive resorts you can purchase when staying on Disney property. So that is their biggest perk. They are all 3 similar as far as layout. They all have a food court, arcade, multiple pools, and the big thing here is the Disney theme is amazing. So even though they are themed to movie, music, and sports, it's the Disney version of those. So all-star movies, each of the wings are separate Disney films. All-star music, it's different types of music with characters that played that type of music. I know the pool has the 3 caballeros with it. And then at the All-Star Sports, again, it's the different sports for the different wings, but Disney characters playing those sports. Some things that are like cons with these. A lot of people book them because they are affordable. They always say, I'm not going to be at my hotel very much, I'm going to be in the parks, so they don't necessarily care about their sleeping accommodations. So these rooms are going to be the smallest on property. They feature 2 double beds, and the resort itself is going to probably be very, very crowded. These are the resorts that most of these competitions book, such as like cheer and dance. So when those competitions go on at Disney, they sell out very quickly, and most of them will be there. So in that sense, it is also probably some of the loudest resorts on property. So again, if that's not necessarily a big deal to you because you'll only be sleeping there, then it's perfectly fine. But a lot of people do think that there are way too many people that stay at these. They do share buses sometimes if it's not super crowded, so you would have to wait for your stop because you stop at all 3 All-Stars. But I think they're great. If you are just doing a very quick trip and maybe not so much relaxing but more doing the Disney parks, then yeah, it's totally worth it. Out of these 3, the one that I book the most would be the All-Star movies, just because of the theming. Alright, next is Pop Century, which I have noted as one of my highlights if you've watched my video about Disney resorts. This is the value that I book the most, and it is my recommendation for value. And the reason is because it's affordable. Obviously, it's in the value category, but it was recently renovated to feature now 2 queen beds in each room. So the rooms are all going to be brand new. This and Art of Animation are the same layout. Pop Century features different decades, and again the Disney theme is everywhere with that too. Still have a food court, and they still have the arcade, very similar to the All-Star resorts. The main difference here also is that Pop Century only will have 1 bus no matter what, so you don't have to stop at other resorts. So again, this is probably my one that I choose, and then with Art of Animation being next, Pop just tends to have more availability, and Art of Animation has different room types, so that one sells out really quickly in specific room types, and then Pop is just the other go-to. So with Art of Animation, you have 2 room types that you can book. You have the standard room, which are all Little Mermaid themed. So if you want a standard room at Art of Animation but maybe have boys, then you'll have to go with a Little Mermaid room no matter what. They only have 3 buildings for Little Mermaid rooms, so they sell out the quickest on Disney property. Also, Little Mermaid rooms are always excluded from promotions, something to keep in mind too if you're hoping for a discount. So those rooms feature 2 double beds, and I personally have stayed in one. I do have a video where I review that resort. Loved the room, loved the resort. It is the newest value on property as well. So if you're not going to be doing the standard room, they have the family suites, which are there. They sleep 6 and are themed to Lion King, Cars, and Finding Nemo. The other thing about this resort is if you have a family of 5, it will actually be cheaper to stay in a standard that sleeps 5 at a moderate than staying in the value suites. They are pretty pricey per night, about $380 or so. Art of Animation, though, does feature the largest pool on Disney property with the Big Blue, which is the Finding Nemo pool centrally located at the resort. Great pool. Very, very large. Lots of stuff to do besides just swim. They have lots of character interactions inside the pool, and I believe the water, or the music, is piped into the water, so that's awesome too. My cons with this would be that it sells out very quickly. There are limited standard rooms. They don't offer promotions for those standard rooms. The suites, the Nemo ones, are going to be more expensive because they are centrally located, and those sell out the quickest of the 3. Alright, so those are my value. Again, overall they're very affordable. Just depends on your taste. If you're wanting Disney extreme everywhere, then yes, these are the resorts for you. But if you want more relaxing and less crowded type atmosphere, then you want to maybe consider these next 2 categories. Also, side note, Art of Animation is the dog-friendly resort of all the values, so dogs are allowed at Art of Animation. Our moderate resorts, which I tend to book more than any other personally, because the moderate for just a couple, we don't have any kids, so a moderate for us is the perfect situation. We are going to be staying at a deluxe this summer, so I'll get more into that in other videos. Alright, so in order based on availability / price, we'll start with the Caribbean Beach Resort. Caribbean Beach has recently gone through a huge renovation and lots of construction has been going on. I tried to steer my clients away from staying here up for about a year. It's going to be done at the end of this year. So I would encourage maybe looking back into that because it will be the newest as far as renovations. All of the moderates are going to be very large, meaning that they're going to have multiple bus stops because the rooms are scattered all throughout the property. So this could be considered a con as well, because if you have a room in the back and you want to walk to the front, that could take you a bit. However, because the resorts are very large, you can actually get on the bus for Disney Springs at your bus stop and it actually will take you to the front. So when you're at the moderate resorts, just look at the tag in your bus stop. It'll tell you which bus to take to get to the front of your resort. So you don't necessarily have to walk it. Great pool at this resort. I've got a picture included here, and the resort is very, very quiet. So the theming again is Caribbean. So this resort actually features pirate rooms that you can stay in, where the beds are going to be pirate ships, featured from the Disney movie Pirates of the Caribbean. The only downside to that room is that the beds are not queen like they are at the rest of the moderates. They have to be double to fit inside the bed. So something to think about if you want that type of room. Coronado Springs is the one that I've stayed in the most. The reasoning we love it is because we don't see a lot of kids there. It's super quiet. We enjoy that. We like the nice relaxing atmosphere. We actually don't get up super early for parks. We like to sleep in and we do our parks in little spurts and then go back and relax and do the pool, eat, and then go back at night. So for us that works. We like not having to hear kids super early in the morning getting ready to go to Disney. So at Coronado Springs, they are currently also under construction as of the making of this video. However, the construction is not interfering with people's rooms. They are actually building a very tall building that's going to be filled with suites that will be available for booking soon. So very exciting for those of you that have bigger families. What I loved about the Coronado Springs is the pool is amazing. It's a Mayan temple pyramid kind of thing, and the waterfall is gorgeous. We love that this resort is more like a deluxe or a moderate plus compared to the other moderates. That's because they actually have a spa and a salon there, so it is something different that the other moderates do have, and all the deluxes have those, so it does have a little more higher scale feel than the other moderates. Pricing is pretty affordable if you think about it in the moderate category here. So the only downside to this resort, I would say, again, it's very large, so walking could be a problem if you don't use the transportation within the resort. But also it's a convention center, So more than likely when you stay here, you will be seeing people with name tags, and there'll be lots of people there for some convention. The only time I ever had an issue with this is at the food court. It could be a little crowded because they're eating at the same time you are. So again, this is my personal favorite in this category, but the next one is the one that I actually booked the most in this category. So Port Orleans Riverside is probably the moderate that will sell out first. Reasoning: the Riverside has not any construction right now, so that's the reason why it books very quickly for me. But I felt like in the past it always did book more quickly than the other two when the construction wasn't going on. It's very beautiful. It is themed to the south and the plantations, so you've got different types of themes here with Alligator Bayou and then the mansions. Port Orleans Riverside features the Royal Guestrooms, which are the rooms that are themed to the Disney princesses. So this is a great alternative if you're not wanting to spend buku bucks and maybe want to celebrate a princess. You can stay in this type of room. This is the dog-friendly resort for the moderates, so there are going to be dogs there if that's something that attracts or detracts you from this resort. Transportation is all buses with the exception of a ferry to Disney Springs. So everything we've done up to this point will be bus transportation, but Port Orleans Riverside is going to have a ferry that you can take to Disney Springs. That's the only difference, which is very convenient if you're going to spend an evening over there. Pool is great. I love the food court here, but if you're wanting maybe a more isolated experience, but you still want to stay at a moderate and not have that huge resort with 4 or 5 bus stops, then consider the sister resort to Port Orleans Riverside, which is Port Orleans French Quarter, which is themed to New Orleans and the Mardi Gras event. Limited amount of rooms here. They more than likely will never have promotions just because there are a limited amount of rooms. Very quaint and beautiful. Walking distance to Port Orleans Riverside, so you can walk over, take the ferry from there, or just even walk over and dine in the restaurants or food courts at Port Orleans Riverside. I loved Riverside because of all the views that we had while my mom's a walker, so when we stayed, she walked and it was just really beautiful. Everything's always landscaped great. We stayed in the Royal Guest Room, so there is a video of that room if you're interested in checking that out on my channel. And those are located in mansion buildings, so they were gorgeous. And then Port Orleans French Quarter, again, is a more enclosed feel. And the rooms are great there, too. They're very similar in size, and they all have queen beds, just as all the moderates do as well. If you're staying at French Quarter, make sure you get the beignets in the food court. They're to die for, I hear. Alright, so lastly in our moderate category is Fort Wilderness, which is located really close to Wilderness Lodge. So the perk here is that Fort Wilderness actually has a ferry to Magic Kingdom and then bus transportation for everything else. This is a campground. So it's considered a moderate because they actually have cabins that sleep 6 there. They have a kitchen and 1 bathroom, and then they have, I think, a queen and a bunk bed and then a pull-out bed. So that's your 6 right there. This is also a dog-friendly resort, and if you are staying here, you need to consider maybe also renting a golf cart through Disney because the property is huge. And there are different ways to get to where you need to be. They have the campfire sing-along at Fort Wilderness, they have the stables, the ferry pickup, the hoop-de-doo review. I mean, there's things everywhere to do on that property, but if you're staying in a cabin and you don't have any means of getting around, you have to walk to the bus stop, take the bus to different stops, etc. When you could actually just rent the golf cart and park it. Very easy. Alright, so let's dive into these deluxe resorts. Now, these are a little different as far as amenities. So thus far, everything has been pretty much the same. Like all the values, room sizes are the same, bus-only transportation. Moderates, the room sizes are a little bigger from that. Larger resorts, more amenities such as they have table service restaurants and they have more activities such as carriage rides, etc. But deluxe are going to be your cream of the crop resorts. So these are going to be the biggest rooms on property. You're going to have various options as far as type of rooms. So some will have standard, you'll have a view to select. If you're close to a theme park, you can have a theme park view. Also suites, which we'll get into DVC too as well. And then the amenities here, multiple table service at some, quick service, multiple pools, and different types of transportation depending on where it's located. So let's go over the 2 DVC properties that are only DVC. So we have Old Key West and Saratoga Springs. Alright, I don't book a ton of these. What recently has been happening is they have updated the types of rooms available. These properties are very large. Saratoga Springs has a golf course, so it does sit on that, and Old Key West has views of that. They don't have a golf course, but you can just hop over to Saratoga Springs. Only bus transportation, which is very rare for a deluxe to have, because one of the perks with the deluxe is being able to have that better transportation. And they're DVC only, which means that they don't have standard rooms. So you either have studios, 1 bedrooms, or 2 bedrooms that you can choose from. You do not have to be a DVC member to stay here. You can book these rooms just as a regular reservation. It is difficult to get around, very similar to the moderates, so if you are in a farther room, you do have quite a ways to go to get to the bus stop. They only have 1 bus stop at these deluxe resorts. So they have recently changed to have preferred views on some of the things, so you can be closer. You just pay a little more to be closer to the bus stops. They're great, they're very relaxing, the rooms are spacious, and again, it's more of a condo type feel because it is a DVC property. The difference there is DVC does not have daily housekeeping, so you do have to take care of that. And that means trash and changing your sheets, etc. It is located extremely close to Disney Springs, so they have a ferry, but then the rest of the transportation will be buses for this. Saratoga Springs also features a unique sleeping situation. They can sleep 9 in a treehouse villa, which is literally in a tree. They're really cool looking and interesting if you're looking for that extended family stay. They are quite a ways away from the main transportation though, so that's the only downfall there. Alright, so moving on from those, a lot of the resorts I'm going to be talking about next also feature DVC rooms, which means they have studios and they have villas and 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. But I'm going to just stick with the main resorts. So for instance, Animal Kingdom and Beach Club, they also have villas, but we're just going to stay on course and just stick with the main rooms. But you can, again, book DVC even if you're not a DVC member. So Animal Kingdom Lodge, very famous. A lot of people know about it because of its views. It's actually moderately priced compared to a lot of the other deluxes. I think the reasoning for that is because it is out there all by itself. Yes, it's close to Animal Kingdom, but you still have to take a bus to it. So the only transportation they offer is buses, which means you have to take it to any of the parks, including Disney Springs. So no perk there. But I think it balances out with you being able to have a Savannah view and seeing the animals. The food choices there are very popular. There are 2 table service, there's the signature dining, there's multiple quick service, and lots of things to do. The pools are great. And again, if you stay, there's 1 main pool on the property, but then there's also DVC. They have their own pool as well. So just look into Animal Kingdom if you have that animal lover and maybe want something special as far as view. But if you're wanting something for proximity, then this is probably not the way to go. Wilderness Lodge is pretty shockingly very low on the deluxe list as far as price. It has a ferry to Magic Kingdom, and in fact, they now, because of construction, have taken some trees out. You can actually see Magic Kingdom fireworks from some of the rooms there. So I would put this one next as far as price. I personally have never stayed there. I've been in there multiple times, but because of where I'm from, and Missouri, we are very outdoorsy as far as everything. Normally, you know, we stay at cabins near lakes all the time around here. Bass Pro is a big store. So that feel is something that I can get at home. So I usually try to stay somewhere else. But a lot of people that don't stay in a region of the United States that don't have that love staying here. Beautiful views, beautiful scenery, and the theming is great. Price is excellent. Different types of views you can get here as far as woods and the lake. They are going to have bus transportation except to Magic Kingdom, which is the ferry. You can also take the ferry to Contemporary Resort and Fort Wilderness from this resort. So if you maybe wanted to go check out the stables or go to Hoop-Dee-Doo one night, you would just have to take the ferry and do a short hop over there. So location is great. Alright, we're going to jump over to what we call the Epcot Resorts. We've got 3 that are in walking distance of each other and are all surrounding a lake there, and also walking distance to Epcot. So Boardwalk Inn would be my next on the list. As far as price, I put this one more toward the bottom of the 3. I have noticed, yeah, their rooms are a little cheaper than the Beach Club and Yacht Club. Boardwalk has a ton of entertainment options. They have their own little area of shopping and nightlife that I think that is an added perk to staying there. Again, it's in walking distance to Epcot. It could possibly be walking distance to Hollywood Studios if you wanted to make that trek, but you can also take the ferry to Epcot and Hollywood. So that means if you're going to be spending most of your time at the new Toy Story Land and think that's all you're going to be doing, maybe consider staying at one of these three because it's super close. Possibility of having firework view because of Epcot. The only bus transportation you'd have would be Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, and Disney Springs if you were doing that. I have personally been in the boardwalk a couple times. It's very beautiful. Highly recommended as far as those three. I do book it often, probably more often than the other two just because of price. So it's the same kind of feel as the other two that I'm about to talk about, but a little cheaper. Yacht Club and Beach Club are actually kind of connected. They are sister resorts, so they do share that same pool, which that pool is probably the best on property. It's sand bottom and has a lazy river and has all sorts of different beach-like structures where it feels like you're in the ocean. The water is chlorine though. This is a very popular resort. Beach Club does sell out quicker than Yacht Club. This is the one I'm staying at this summer. I'm extremely excited to give you guys a first-hand look at what these rooms look like. We'll actually be in a villa. Alright, location, location, location. These are super close again to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Beach Club is actually closer to Epcot than the other three and is just a hop, skip, and a jump into World Showcase. Those are extremely elegant. So when you walk in, it just feels like you're in a completely different place. You are paying a little bit for that. It's great. Some of the better food options are here. Cape May Cafe is a character breakfast that's located here. There's also a character breakfast over at Boardwalk. Lots of different options as far as quick service. Yeah, I can't say anything else about this place. I don't really have any cons besides the price. Very beautiful. Lots of different options as far as room types. You can get different views, and then again, they are both DVC places, so you can get DVC type rooms. Actually I don't think Yacht Club does, but Beach Club is DVC. Alright, let's jump into the big ones, the big three, which are the monorail resorts. So these all have tons and tons of pros. Again, the only con is going to be they're very expensive. They are the most expensive on property, but heck, you're paying for that awesome view of the castle to see every night. It's a dream to some days stay in one of these, but I just like to try to stay in something different every time we go. So maybe next trip we can go and stay at one of these. Alright, I'll start with the Poly. I think out of the three, this one is the most popular. I find it more difficult to find these rooms. I think people just love that Hawaiian theme. Probably the best table service restaurants on property. I know Ohana is probably one of the biggest ones people look for. Kona is great as well. And then they also have a Trader Sam's, which is extremely popular nightlife type location. The pool is excellent. It's a volcano. You have water views, and of course you can see the castle directly in front of you from that resort, so fireworks views are an option. You can even go and visit this resort without staying there. You can do that to all of these, but we have been a few times just checking it out and love it. Personally, if you've been to Hawaii, it's very comparable to what Hawaii does look like. The Polynesian and the Contemporary were both the original resorts that were built when Walt Disney World opened in 1971 and are both still there and are renovated all the time. Contemporary would be next on my list. A lot of people feel like it is outdated. Keep in mind though, the Contemporary's theme is to be modern, so it's not over-the-top theming compared to all the other resorts. It's just very elegant and modern and very basic as far as the type of decor. So all three of these resorts, as I said, are monorail resorts, meaning monorails go through them, so that's perfect. You could take the monorail to Epcot or Magic Kingdom from these. The Contemporary does feature walking distance, though, to Magic Kingdom. You can just go to Magic Kingdom with walking instead of having to wait for the monorail, so that is a huge perk. There is a ferry also that stops at the Contemporary. So out of the three, this one I book a few times out of the year just because it is closest to Magic Kingdom, so the theme park view rooms here are the ones that are highly sought after. It also features some great dining. We've had California Grill before, which is on the rooftop. So if you've dined there that evening or even that day, you can go back and go to the roof to watch the fireworks. Chef Mickey's is also there, and the Wave is another great option at Contemporary. Alright, the Grand Floridian, which is the hoity-toity of all the Disney resorts, which is super elegant. Like, I feel like when I walk in, I can't touch anything because I'm going to break it. We went there this Christmas to go check out some of the decor, and I just felt like out of place. I'm like, there's a piano player over here, and there's all these people in suits and ties. I'm like, where am I? Yeah, Disney just takes you to a whole other place. But this one is the top cream of the crop, top tip of the top. Name that movie. So very elegant. Again, monorail resort on the water, so you can also take a ferry. The views, there are options for theme park views. It's also very close to Magic Kingdom, but you cannot walk there. You do have to take the monorail or the ferry to get to Magic Kingdom. Lots of signature dining locations here that lots of people like to visit, including Citrico's and Arcusi's. So these are, again, very highly sought after reservations as far as those who are looking for signature dining. If you don't ever get a chance to stay here, at least go in and check it out. It's just so beautiful. Everything's all white and Victorian, and just the smell. Like, people talk about the smell when they walk in. It's amazing. Okay, so I wanted to touch on Swan and Dolphin really quick to end this video. Swan and Dolphin are on Disney property but are not fully Disney. So what that means is that they don't have all the same perks that some of the other Disney resorts do. So with Swan and Dolphin, it is considered an Epcot resort. It is in walking distance to beach, yacht, and the boardwalk. I've stayed at the Swan, loved it. Very elegant, very comparable to the other deluxe resorts. It's huge. It is a convention center area, so lots of meetings happen there. So what's the difference? Well, you do not get magic bands when staying here, and you cannot have the dining plan added to your package of staying at these resorts. And if you do fly into Orlando International, they do not offer Magical Express. You do have to find other means to get there. Otherwise, there are lots. I can book these. There are various discounts offered for these for different types of professions, including firefighters and teachers. So a lot of people do tend to stay there for that. But if you're wanting the full Disney experience with food and everything and don't have to worry about getting around, then maybe consider one of the other ones I mentioned. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I can book these as well. Whew! Alright, so I know that was super quick. I'll try to type in the comment section my notes that I have written for all of these so that you can go back and check it out. And then I'll put asterisks next to the ones that I consider my top favorites, either ones that I personally love or ones that are most often booked with my clients. Hopefully this is encouraging to you that you can want to stay on Disney property and find the one that's the best fit for you. Again, I'm open to any questions you have. You can leave that in the comments and I'll get right back to you. If you're interested in booking a Disney vacation and are interested in using my services, please feel free to contact me. My information's below, and you can do that via email or visit my Facebook page. Alright, have a magical day. I will talk to you guys really soon. Bye. Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.